So this example helps us see how, in fact, just as Miller said, that genres develop because they are effective social responses. They have goals that are meant to be achieved. Genres develop because they are effective social interactive responses to situations that writers often encounter. How is this helpful to us? Well, Devitt writes, Devitt, another very important figure in genre theory. Um, we are we have the option to read her this week, but also the readings that we're required to do. You might notice they quote from her heavily, which suggests to you if you're going to focus, do a genre theory reading of your discourse community, that Devitt is a pretty crucial source. And also, you'll find that I've provided that source to you on the suggestions and topics document. Okay, how does this help us? How does it help us to know that genres arise from repeated rhetorical situations that are similar? Devitt writes, if each writing problem were to require a completely new assessment of how to respond, writing would be slowed considerably. But once we recognize a recurring situation, a situation that we or others have responded to in the past, our response to that situation can be guided by past responses. In other words, if you are about to graduate and there's a great job that you really want and it asks for a cover letter and a resume, a foolish way to approach would be to sit down and say, okay, they want me to write a document that shows I'm a good candidate for the job, that displays my expertise, and that shows the work I've done in the past. What does that document look like? I'll try to create it for the first time, right? That's not the first time this rhetorical situation has happened. People have been writing documents to get them work for centuries, if not longer. The way that genres are helpful to us as a writer is we should look at how others have navigated this position successfully in the past. In other words, it's good writing process to probably read up on the genre of the resume, read up on what a good genre entails, and what a reader expects from a good genre, because reader expectations are part of genre as well. If employer asks for a resume and you give them something that's formatted like an essay and it's 7 pages long, their expectations are shattered. It's not what they expect from that genre. It's not a resume, and you're probably not going to get that job. So the cool thing is this genre theory applies to all genres of writing and text. I think it's helpful, though, for us to look to another one that we're familiar with. Let's look at perhaps the syllabus. When I sat down to compose the syllabus for this course, do you think I said, what's the best document I could create that could communicate the goals of the course to the student, that can let them know what they need to have before the course begins, that will let them know what happens every day in the course? I didn't invent this document for myself because a genre exists. That genre is the syllabus, right? And I was able to draw on my previous syllabuses, which had drawn on other instructors' previous syllabuses, which had drawn on other previous teachers' syllabuses, all the way back to, all the way back to Aristotle or whoever all the way back to the first time somebody sat down to write a document to let their students know what a course was about, right? So the features of the genre aren't arbitrary. They're there because they meet the needs of that rhetorical situation. It helps for more effective communication. It's not just easier for me. It helps me create the document. That's helpful. But it also helps for more effective communication between teachers and students, because I already have worked with a document. I don't have to create a new genre. But you also, as a student, are familiar with a genre and you know what to expect. So if my syllabus was um, a graphic novel, and it had pictures and it had dialogue, you might open it up and say, "What the hell? Where can I find the course calendar? Where can I find the needed materials?" Right? So that's the way that the expectations of a syllabus serve both the writer and the reader. Since it's more of a traditional syllabus, you might pick it up immediately and say, "Okay, where's the late work policy? I know exactly what I need to find." Right? So you know how to navigate that genre as well. So this is the way that genres are tools that help people accomplish something. No surprise there, right? Um, think about genres as tools that help people get things done, whether that's getting a job by knowing how to write a killer resume, winning a person's heart by writing a romantic love letter. That one might be a little bit outdated. Right? Getting into college by writing an effective personal statement. Often these really high stakes pieces of writing that we do have been done again and again and again, and therefore they're a genre. So if you were going to try to get into Harvard and you sat down and say, what does it seem like the best statement about my own purposes would be like? That would be a foolish way to go about it. It would be more difficult. An easier, more effective way is to look at the genre of the personal statement itself. Look at how the best writers of the past have met the needs of this rhetorical situation, and of course also what the readers will expect. Right? Other genres: letters of rec, user manuals, progress report, ransom note, lecture, white paper, eulogy, sermon. A lot of some of the most important writing that we'll do is in a genre. It's typified. I think maybe this is more information than we need, but what do we mean by typified? Hopefully, I've already explained how they're rhetorical, right? They come from specific rhetorical situations that repeat. Let's just say that typified here means that they are pretty static, right? They, the characteristics of a resume don't change too much between resume. They do change some, though, right? Depending on if you want to emphasize your whether it's an academic job or whether it's a more manual labor job, right? You might choose to put your your education first if you think it's a more academic intellectual job, or if where you went to school is more impressive, frankly, or if it's not and people are going to be interested in your long illustrious career, you might choose to put your work history first. So we can sort of push the limits of genre, but we are always working within certain constraints. We can push a genre too much to the point where the reader's not even going to recognize it as such. So of course, right, they're typified, which doesn't mean they're exactly the same between from situation to situation. And more generally, the expectations of a genre more generally can change sort of over time and slowly. For instance, I think as far as the resume goes, I don't think the objective, right? The first thing you used to put on a resume is what I want. My objective is to get a job where I can work in the technical field of CAD design, right? That's kind of gone the way of the dinosaur, I think. I think employers don't really expect that anymore. That's kind of a slow transition that's happened over the last decade. So genres aren't entirely static. They can change, like a little bit slowly and over time. But and that's just an interesting question. Man, if you see a genre that's slowly changed in your discourse community, that would be an interesting, a really excellent thing to focus on. What does it mean that the resume has changed? That means that the rhetorical situation has changed just a little bit. Maybe I could write a really great paper and say, yeah, the objective is gone because employers no longer care about what the employee wants. They want all they care about is how well the employee can meet their needs, something like that. So that's what we mean by typified. Kind of static, but can change between situation, from situation to situation, and can change over time. We've covered that. Okay, I think we've covered how they are interactive, how they're social responses, how they arise from rhetorical situations, and we've covered how they can change. They can be tweaked to meet our needs, and they can change over time. This is interesting, right? Genres often work together. For instance, let's continue with the job search materials. Let's say you want to get a job, right? And I said, oh, a resume is a document that will help you do that. But look at the resume is one of in a whole system of documents, right? First, there's the job description and the job posting. Did the employer who was going to write a document that tried to attract good potential employees say, I'm going to reinvent the wheel here? No, those important pieces of writing have happened so many times over and over again that they have become a genre. So there's a genre. There are genre expectations for a job description, for a job posting, for an application letter, for a CV, for an application form. The written request for an interview, that's become genreified, if you will. The rejection letter itself is a genre. The interview is a genre. You can prepare, you can expect, you can have some expectations from that interaction. The offer letter, the counter offer, another rejection letter, hopefully not. The HR forms, the orientation materials, the tax forms. So often in our discourse communities, if we find one genre, we'll often find that it works in a system with other genres to achieve, look at all of the documents look at all of the genreified documents that are entailed in the purpose of, for the purpose of achieving the goal of hiring a person or getting hired. Oh boy, even crazier, genre sets sometimes, as you can see, they sometimes span sets and into what we call genre systems. If you are going to write your, this is territory that you can possibly go down if you really want to do an in-depth genre analysis for your discourse community report. For the time being, though, this week, I think that's what we need to understand how genres work. Now, what this means is that we can ask these questions now about genres in our own discourse community. And in fact, it's exactly what I have instructed and asked that you do in Wednesday's discussion board post. First, we need to sort of understand the rhetorical situation. Who are often the authors of this genre? Who is often the audience of this genre? What is its goal or purpose usually? What is its exigence? And then we can also ask, right, what are the features of it? How is it patterned? What is the content usually? How is it structured? How is it formatted? What is the word choice like? What is the sentence style? What we'll find is that these two items, right, what are the rhetorical situations from which the genre arises, and the features of the genre themselves, they are of course related. In fact, the rhetorical situation should inform and help you understand why the genre is the way that it is. So not only is it going to be helpful for us to begin to understand a genre or multiple genres in our discourse community, after we've done that, we can begin to critique it, right? We can ask the questions we ask about any writing. Does it encourage certain types of communication? Does it have constraint against others? Who can and cannot use this? Who is empowered in using using these genres? Of course, it's a piece of writing. It's necessarily social, necessarily carries beliefs and enculturates. So what values and beliefs are instantiated in this sets of practices? What enculturation is going on? What value, logic, attitudes, norms, etc. are implied? And to become literate in a genre, how might our identity change a little bit? So really a lot of work to do this week. I'm looking forward to reading these discussion board posts.